Welcome to Dave's Cooking Show, and for you today we have a tomato basil BLT. First, we got to make our tomato basil bread. So, we're going to add 1 cup of water. Oh, and this is adding it to a bread machine. Followed by 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. And it is important that you add these ingredients in the order that I give them. First water, second tomato paste. And then you want to add 1 tablespoon of oil from a jar of sun-dried tomatoes in oil. And then 2 tablespoons of those sun-dried tomatoes that we chopped up. Followed by a teaspoon of sea salt. And then a tablespoon of white sugar. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. Then you want to add 2 teaspoons of dried minced onion. Then you want to add 2 teaspoons of dried basil. Then 2 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour. And then a 1/2 cup of whole wheat flour. And then 1 packet of instant yeast, or 2 1/4 teaspoons of instant yeast. Put the bread machine lid down and set it for the dough cycle and run it until the dough cycle is complete. All right, let's move on to the next step. Okay, as you can see here, our tomato basil dough is done and nice. And now we're going to kind of knead it and smack it and beat the shit out of it on a lightly floured work surface. And you can do this by hand, or you can just use a rolling pin. And basically, you kind of want to just stretch this dough out until you have something about 12 inches long. And we're going to roll it up as tightly as we can. Just remember, this is going to have to go into a loaf pan. So, again, we rolled up our dough. I still felt like beating the shit out of it a little bit. And then we take our loaf and put it in our bread pan. And now that you've got your dough in the bread pan, you're going to want to cover it with a towel and let it rise once again until it is double in size. But it can certainly go longer, and usually the flavor's better. I think I left mine for like 4 hours. It had a little bit beyond doubled in size. Okay, once you have let your dough double in size, press it down just a little bit, get any of the last gases out there, and then preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Now, once it hits 400 degrees, put the loaf in, and then turn the oven down to 350 degrees. And then you're going to want to bake this for 30 to 35 minutes, and then remove it from the oven, do the knife test, and then let it sit in the pan for at least 15 minutes, remove it, and then cool it on a rack for another 45 minutes before you slice it. Now, as you can see, I've already sliced mine, and I'm toasting my bread up on the griddle over medium heat. You want to go for a nice light toasting. All right. As you can see here, our bread's been toasted up, and I have added some mayo. Now I'm going to add some bacon. About 4 strips of bacon, and the rest of the sandwich is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, who the hell doesn't know how to make a BLT? And then you want to add an heirloom tomato. And always salt and pepper your tomatoes when you add them to anything. Just a little tip. And then you just want to add some nice romaine lettuce or mixed greens, butter lettuce if you prefer. I decided to go with romaine for this one. And that's it. That's a tomato basil BLT. Done.